Organized greed is simply more effective than disorganized democracy. Do not ever forget that. It is a very, very simple rule of nature. You probably won't like me, but I'm not going to bullshit you. Capitalism is our religion. Oh, excuse me, capitalism and sex. Now, I was brought in here by the Climate Mobilization group to talk about the environment and help people push some things through Congress. Before we get to that, there's something that you need to understand. The United States government is a business. There are two things that motivate people in power, and that is money and embarrassing the hell out of them. And if you're lucky, you can embarrass the hell out of them. But the one thing that you have control over is money. And don't ever forget that. You need to find partners. You're going to have to dance a little bit. You're going to have to learn what you're going up against. Don't be naive and think for a second that logic has anything to do with motivating people in power. Think about the worst thing you could think about with Washington and multiply it by 100, because that's what you're dealing with. You think Washington is stupid? Politicians are simply oil in the machine. They're doing exactly what the operators are telling them to do. You're not seeing the puppeteers, what I call the orchestrators. Now, climate change is one of the most complicated lobbying issues we face, and the reason is it's a very, very important issue if it's indeed true. But there's no lobbying money behind it. That's a recipe for failure. Let me give you an example. When I was down at the California Public Utilities Commission working on a project for solar energy, there were 2 people from the Environmental Defense Fund and there were 28 lawyers from the utilities. And then you had a confused judge. You had the judge's aides who didn't understand anything about the issues. They were so busy following the procedures on making sure that all the roll calls were done and all the paperwork was done that they didn't know anything about the environmental issues they were talking about. And they had meetings upon meetings upon meetings. And guess who showed up to every single one of those meetings? All 28 lawyers. And the Environmental Defense Fund people were sitting there not knowing what to do. And the judge was begging us to come back, and we said we're too busy, and meanwhile the 28 lawyers are throwing monkey wrenches into everything. So it comes down to something very simple. You want to go in there and you want to get some bills passed, you need to make sure that there are people there every single day fighting the fight, and by the way, those people need to get paid. So what you're up against is basically a machine. The number of hours that people put in, money gets put in, and you crank the handle. You're talking about a machine that has no soul. It's just an adding machine. You need to really understand the machine you're fucking with. There's 2 words that really drive our energy policy, or actually our lack thereof. Oil lobby. And the way you go up against a lobby is you need another lobby. And the other lobby needs to have money. Not people singing songs and talking to each other about how terrible things are happening. You need to have a counterbalance. We improved U.S. cybersecurity by getting an executive order passed through in Washington. How did we do that? We didn't appeal to their logic. We found things that companies were doing that were really, really bad and really, really sloppy. And we basically, A, threatened to expose them on 2020, and they suddenly were listening, and B, we found somebody who was willing to put up money to go up against big business. Who? Insurance companies. Because when big business screws up, the insurance companies are footing the bill. We used people who had a financial incentive and were willing to put lobbyists to the test on this. There is nobody insuring the planet Earth. Sure, we got a few disorganized wind and solar companies. But if you have an activist, you know what the best thing you can do is get these people organized and show them you know how to play ball. Show them you know how to use their resources and their money effectively. And then create a lobbying group to go up against the big business. You do that, you show a little bit of that effort, you show a little bit of results, you get a little bit of money from people like me, and then you get more money and more money. You need to mobilize people who are going to get in there and fight the fight and fight their dirty fight the way it needs to get fought. And if you don't like the way that smells, then why don't you do everybody else a favor and go sing your songs in the corner and let the professional people work together, and then as soon as we come up with a strategy, when we can ask you to go and knock on doors. Take somebody like Elon Musk. Do you think electric vehicles make any sense? They make absolutely no sense. with a dirty power grid? Electric vehicles are terrible for the environment. People are wondering, what the hell is this guy doing? I'll tell you exactly what he's doing. He's creating an industry, an infrastructure of people with money flowing into it so that they can create political action groups and lobbying groups to go up against the oil lobby. And you got to use the leverage of organized greed to get what you want. You got to dance with the devil. And I'm here to help you learn how to dance with the devil. And the first way to do a little dance with your partner is you gotta like your partner. You gotta find your partner a little bit sexy. You gotta respect your partner. You gotta grab your partner, and you gotta know how to dance. Now, I may appear angry about people who are naive about environmental issues, but I really want to emphasize this is what you are up against. Are you familiar with startup companies? Wall Street companies? The work ethic of them? You may not like that, but you know something? That's what you need to do. That's what you need to be. You need to be like a startup company. You need to be focused and working really, really hard and working really, really smart and being really, really determined to succeed. Elon Musk, a great hero in the world of energy, when he said working for a startup was, quote, like staring death into the face every single day. You need to understand the very nature of the devil. There are 3 types of devils in this world. One of them, as you know, lies deep in the human heart. The other devil is one of the most nefarious ones of all because most people are not aware of its identity, and that is entropy. The tendency of everything to, by nature, fall into chaos. When you think somebody else is in charge, everybody thinks somebody else is in charge, and everything just falls apart. If you want something to fail, first of all, it'll fail on its own almost every time without exception, unless you put a good manager in there. And the third devil is the denial that the other 2 devils exist and not doing anything about it. You have the power in yourself to do what needs to get done. And you have to call people on their bullshit and get rid of people who are not realistic. And I think most of you liberal types are too afraid to be male, are too afraid to be tough. You have all this feminine energy floating around. We need feminine energy to give us a purpose, but the feminine energy must harness the claws of masculinity. The combination of the masculine and the feminine is what makes this universe work. And you must embrace both of them to succeed. You have the capacity to be everything. People in Washington, people in power are incapable of that combination. And that's how you're gonna get your shit done. If you've made it this far, if you can tolerate a person like me, congratulations, you've made it through the filter. You're now one step closer to starting your journey to creating some real change here. And the people that didn't make it through here, it's okay. They can knock on doors and they can do research, but don't put them in charge of anything. Sounds obnoxious? It may sound that way, but that's the reality. Be a good manager. You got to think like a business person. Being able to do what I do takes a very, very rare combination of somebody who has 2 hemispheres in their brain. One of them is, I want to make money. I am an investor. I like making money. I like feeling secure. I like having power. The other side of your brain is, I'm a human being. I have children. I care about my children. I care about the environment. And these are 2 entirely different hemispheres that need to work together without interfering with each other. Really, really successful people are not normal. They're very, very unusual. And you have to remember, you, by taking on the environmental movement, are going up against a huge machine. This is a huge task. I don't think you understand how huge this is. If you want to go against a huge task, you need to consider the habits of hugely successful people, unusual people. Remember, most people in this world have been infected by the memes that we business people have created to create consumerism. Pop culture, TV addiction are all things that drive growth, that make people rich. We addict people. We get people addicted to these bad behaviors. and that is most of the population. Most successful people do not get infected by these bad habits. Most successful people, usually successful people, you have to study them. People like business people, entertainers, criminals, politicians, they have a singular purpose, a singular drive to do something passionate, to do something that they care about, and to stay focused. Usually successful people are not only obsessed with what they're doing, they're actually very realistic about what's going on them, and they make adjustments. And if you can't do that, you're going to retire thinking the whole world is fucked up, and the whole world is everybody else's fault. All kinds of things are happening, and it has nothing to do with me. I was just trying to save the world. Don't be a stupid, naive idealist. Every person, every one of you was put on this planet to do something important. And how many people actually get it done? The universe is asking you to step it up or step out. Like I said, I'm not going to bullshit you. Let's try an experiment. I'm going to tell you the truth. Do I care about the environment? Sure, I care about the environment. I don't know if there's global warming or not. There probably is. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But there's one thing I know for absolute sure, 100% probability, is that we're going to make money off of this. You don't like me? Fuck you. Because you know something? I may be a business guy, but I am at least a little bit concerned about the environment, and I'm willing to put a little bit of effort in here, and I'm willing to channel some money towards this climate. And that's about as good as it's going to get. I want to make money off green energy technologies. I'm less interested in the environment and saving the environment. I'm a little interested in it, and let me tell you why. Because so far, the people that have been involved in it, I'm not very impressed. A lot of disorganization, I don't want any part of it. But you came to me, all right, let's step it up. If you could actually get well organized, and we can work together on this thing, I can benefit from it from a business point of view, and I might actually save the environment while we're involved in it. How about this? Let's make a deal. Then we're going to partner with business, and we're going to take some of the money that we make, and I'm going to pocket some of it because I get a little bit of fee here, and it makes sense because I'm going to do this anyway. But I'm willing to spend some time with you. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a lobbying group, and we're going to take the money that we earn, and we're going to take all the intelligence and all the inside information, all the partners, and we're going to create a big movement together with all the good liberal people who want to save the environment and all the business people who want to make money, and we're all going to be aligned, and we're going to go to Washington, and we're going to create a little bit more balance because we're going to be in this together. Be the ball. Dance to the game. To embrace all ways of thinking. Remember, there are people from all walks of life who are interested in saving the environment, and some of them are like me. They're dirty scoundrels that like to make money. And there's some people are very liberal Berkeley types that want to just save the environment and have no fucking clue as to what they're doing. And somehow the people, the great leaders of the world, are going to make us all work together. Our ability to have intercourse with all types of people, intercourses of ideas, resist the means that have been put upon you. Society is a means of making us and them and putting you in denial about the fact that so many of us have so much in common and that the elites are just trying to separate us. Take that power, that monster of business, that advertising-driven monster, and claw it to the ground and jump on top of it and ride that beast into the sunset, and you know that you have the power to do this. Are you ready for the challenge?